Said, man, everybody is talking about this moment. 786,000 views. That is ridiculous, man.
What Caitlin Clark just did to the New York Liberty, especially in the first half.
You're about to witness the most jaw-dropping moment of the WNBA season, and Breanna Stewart's reaction will leave you speechless. What Caitlin Clark did in this game didn't just break records, it broke the internet and sent shockwaves through the entire basketball world.
Men lie, women lie, and numbers don't. And the numbers just prove Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever is a better team than the New York Liberty. Now, the New York Liberty was picked to be the #1 team in the W, which they are right now. But I'm telling you, they really lost to the Indiana Fever twice. If the referees do not pretty much dismantle that last game, the Indiana Fever will be 2-0 against the New York Liberty.
Picture this. The Liberty are undefeated, rolling through the league like a freight train. Breanna Stewart is playing like the MVP she is, leading her team with that cold-blooded precision we've come to expect. Then, Caitlin Clark steps onto that court and everything changes in an instant. The rookie sensation, who's been dealing with injury questions and doubters, pulls up from the logo not once, not twice, but 3 times in 38 seconds and watches Breanna Stewart's world crumble before her eyes. But here's what really happened that night and why Stewart's reaction tells us everything we need to know about where this league is headed. The tension was thick from the opening tip. You could feel it in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The crowd knew something special was brewing. Clark had been out, questions swirling about whether she'd lost a step, whether the injury had taken something from her game. The Liberty came in cocky. And why wouldn't they? They hadn't lost a single game all season. Stewart was putting up numbers that would make any player jealous, and the rest of the league was playing catch-up.
By getting them their first basket with an assist. It's 6-4. She then throws a ridiculous pass to Boston for that. And in the meantime, Caitlin Clark hit a floater. Then Caitlin Clark, it's 19-10. They're not doing great. At this stage, Caitlin had been subbed off, subbed back on, and they went on a bit of a lull. They couldn't score without her. And Caitlin Clark goes and gets an and one. Like Sophie Cunningham gets a shot. It's 19-15. Caitlin Clark goes and hits from the logo. And if you see here, like Caitlin Clark hits from like 30. Then Maureen Johannes comes down, hits another 3. I ride off that Maureen Johannes hit a 3. Caitlin Clark comes down from deep, hits the 3. Like, it is absolutely ridiculous. She goes and does that.
Then Clark decided to remind everyone why she's different. First quarter, clock ticking down. Clark gets the ball at half court. Stewart's playing solid defense, giving her space, but not too much space. That's the mistake right there.
For most of the first quarter, they actually did quite well on her. Natasha Cloud was very in tune to that matchup. But then when the Liberty went to their bench and when Rebecca Gardner came in and she was primarily on Clark, things did not go as well. And I actually spoke to Rebecca Gardner today.
You can't give Caitlin Clark any space, not even a little bit, because she make you pay from distances that don't even make sense. She pulls up from the logo, the kind of shot that makes coaches cringe and fans hold their breath. Swish. Nothing but net. Stewart's reaction? Pure disbelief. She stops dead in her tracks, looks at Clark, then at the basket, then back at Clark. You can see it in her eyes, that split second where even a 2-time MVP has to acknowledge she just witnessed something special. But that was just the beginning. 30 seconds later, Clark does it again. Same spot, same confidence, same result. This time Stewart actually smiles. It's not a happy smile though, it's the kind of smile you give when you realize you're in trouble. When you recognize that the player in front of you isn't playing by the same rules as everyone else. When you understand that everything you thought you knew about this matchup just went out the window. Then comes the third one. This time Clark doesn't even hesitate. She gets the ball, sees Stewart backing off, and launches it from a distance that would make Steph Curry jealous. The crowd erupts, Stewart throws her hands up in the air and starts laughing. But it's not genuine laughter.
Caitlin dribbling between the legs, step back. Look at this space. Look at the space, man. Look where she's at. Logo ready. Oh my goodness. Just pulls it. Nothing but the bottom of the net. And then give her a ooh. You thought she was Young M.A. the way she oohed her like that.
It's the kind of laugh you give when you're so frustrated, so completely bewildered by what you're seeing, that laughing is the only response. That makes sense.
Clark directing traffic. And then steps back with the 3 over Breanna Stewart. The nerve, the second-year players clearing out that side of the floor, shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction with one another. Stewie's laughing. Caitlin knows it's ridiculous. Just out there having a good time.
3 logo threes in 38 seconds. Against the best team in the league. Against one of the greatest players of this generation. And Clark made it look effortless.
That's not even remotely a step back. That's all you can think about, man. After that shot, oh my goodness. Oh, Clark hitting that step back on Stewie and chirping. You love to see the rookie confidence. Hey, man, she is confident. I mean, she's not a rookie, but she's a sophomore now. But, man, extremely confident out there. I love what she was doing. That looked like MVP Caitlin Clark saying, get out of the way, man. Scoot over. Let me run the show, man. I love it.
But what happened next is what really drove Stewart over. The edge. The Liberty tried to adjust. They pressed higher, they switched everything. They threw different defenders at Clark. Nothing worked. Every time they thought they had an answer, Clark found a new way to torture them. She wasn't just scoring, she was conducting a symphony of basketball brilliance that had the entire arena on their feet. Mitchell caught fire from Clark's energy, dropping 22 points and slicing through the Liberty defense like it was made of paper. Carlson came off the bench and provided exactly the spark they needed when the momentum threatened to shift. Hull was draining threes from every angle, stretching the Liberty defense to its breaking point. This wasn't just the Caitlin Clark show anymore. This was a complete team effort inspired by their rookie leader's fearless performance. Stewart tried everything. She posted up harder, she demanded the ball more, she tried to match Clark's intensity shot for shot. But you could see the frustration building with every possession. When you're used to being the best player on the floor, when you're accustomed to controlling the game with your presence and your skill, watching someone younger, someone newer, someone who's supposed to still be learning, completely take over. Your house is a humbling experience. The breaking point came in the third quarter. Clark had the ball, Stewart was guarding her one-on-one, and everyone in the building knew something was about to happen. Clark started her signature move, that smooth crossover that's become her calling card. Stewart stayed with her, played textbook defense, did everything right. Then Clark stepped back, way back, further than any reasonable person would attempt a shot, and let it fly. Time seemed to stop. The ball arced through the air while 40,000 people held their breath. Stewart turned to watch it, just knowing that it was going in. When it splashed through the net, she didn't just smile this time. She threw her head back, covered her face with her hands, and walked away shaking her head like she couldn't believe what she'd just witnessed. That's when you knew Stewart was mentally broken. When you see a player of her caliber, with her experience, with her championship pedigree, react like that, you know she's not just beaten, she's been shown something that challenges everything she thought she knew about basketball. The Liberty tried to call timeout, tried to regroup, tried to find some way to stem the bleeding. But it was too late. Clark had already gotten into their heads. Every time they looked at the scoreboard, every time they saw Clark bringing the ball up the court, every time they heard the crowd getting louder, they were reminded that this wasn't their night. By the fourth quarter, Stewart was pressing. She was forcing shots, trying to do too much, trying to single-handedly will her team back into the game. But that's not how basketball works. When one player puts you in a hole that deep, when one player has your entire team shook, it's almost impossible to climb back out, especially when that player isn't done yet. Clark's final act of dominance came with 2 minutes left. The game was essentially over. The Fever had built an insurmountable lead, and everyone expected her to cruise to the finish line. Instead, she decided to put an exclamation point on the night. She pulled up from even deeper than before, from a distance that shouldn't even be legal, and drained another three. The crowd went absolutely nuclear. Players on both benches stood up in amazement, and Stewart just stood there, hands on her hips, staring at Clark with a mixture of respect and resignation. After the game, Stewart tried to be gracious in defeat. She talked about how Clark played a great game, how the Fever executed their game plan perfectly, how sometimes you just have to tip your hat to the other team. But you could see it in her eyes, hear it in her voice. This wasn't just another loss. This was the night she realized that the landscape of the WNBA had shifted.
Today against a team that started off the season 9-0, a team that is the defending champions, might have been the greatest women's basketball performance we have ever seen. That might have been the greatest showing from a WNBA player we have ever witnessed. That was spectacular. The shots she hit in this game, y'all, were something like I've never seen any other women basketball player ever come close to hitting.
For years, Stewart had been the standard, the player everyone measured themselves against, the one who set the bar for excellence in women's basketball. But Clark didn't just reach that bar, she vaulted over it and made it look easy. She didn't just beat Stewart, she showed her and everyone else watching that a new era was beginning. The numbers tell the story. Clark finished with 31 points, 9 assists, and 7 threes. The Fever shot 48% from beyond the arc as a team. They scored 128 points against a defense that had been suffocating opponents all season. They turned the best team in the league into a highlight reel of their own dominance. Asterisk, but the real story isn't in the box score. It's in the way Clark carried herself throughout the game. The confidence with which she took every shot. The ease with which she found her teammates. The fearlessness she displayed against a team and a player who were supposed to intimidate her. Stewart wasn't just watching a great performance, she was witnessing the changing of the guard. Social media exploded immediately after the game. Highlight reels of Clark's performance racked up millions of views within hours. NBA players were tweeting their amazement. Basketball analysts were calling it one of the greatest individual performances in WNBA history. Even Stewart's own teammates were shown on camera smiling and shaking their heads at what they just witnessed. LeBron James tweeted simply, "The CC effect. Welcome back. You were missed." Steph Curry posted a video of himself watching Clark's logo threes with the caption, "Recognized game." Magic Johnson called it the most impressive rookie performance I've ever seen in any sport. When you have legends of the game speaking in those terms, you know you've witnessed something truly special. But perhaps the most telling reaction came from Stewart herself in the post-game press conference. When asked about Clark's performance, she paused for a long moment, looked down at her hands, then back up at the reporters. "I've never seen anything like that," she said quietly. The range, the confidence, the way she elevated her teammates. That's not normal. That's not something you can teach or scheme for. That's just pure talent and will, coming from Breanna Stewart, a player who has seen everything, who has played against the best in the world, who has won at every level. That admission carries weight. It's not just praise, it's recognition. Recognition that something has fundamentally changed in the league. Recognition that the player she thought she knew, the rookie she thought she could handle, is actually something entirely different. The ripple effects of that game are still being felt. Other teams are studying the film, trying to figure out how to stop what seems unstoppable. Coaches are redesigning their defensive schemes. Players are questioning whether they're ready for what's coming next, because if Caitlin Clark can do that to Breanna Stewart and the Liberty, what can she do to everyone else? This wasn't just a game, it was a statement. A declaration that the old guard's time is coming to an end and a new era is beginning. Stewart's reaction wasn't just about one loss. It was about watching the future of her sport announce itself in the most dramatic way possible. The question now isn't whether Caitlin Clark is for real. The question is whether anyone can stop her. And based on what we saw that night, based on Breanna Stewart's reaction, based on the way Clark dominated one of the greatest teams ever assembled, the answer might be no. That's what makes moments like these so special. That's what makes performances like Clark's so memorable. They don't just change games, they change the entire conversation. They force everyone to recalibrate their expectations and prepare for something they've never seen before. Breanna Stewart went nuts that night not because she played poorly, but because she realized she was witnessing greatness in its purest form. She went nuts because she understood that everything she thought she knew about her sport, about her position in it, about what was possible, had just been redefined by a rookie who plays the game like she's been doing it for 20 years. The Caitlin Clark era has officially begun, and Breanna Stewart's reaction told us everything we need to know about where this is headed. The future is here, and it's absolutely electric.